You know that humble box humming away on the side of your house? Yeah, that one. It's not just an appliance. It's a silent guardian, a soldier on the front lines of a constant, invisible battle. So let's pull back the curtain on this hidden war and see what it can teach all of us.
Seriously, every single day, your home is under assault from the outside world. So today, we're going to explore what that battle really is, and more importantly, what happens when your home's defenses finally fail. Let's just call it what it is, the unseen climate battle. On one side, you've got your HVAC system. That's our soldier. And on the other side, a relentless, powerful enemy, the local climate itself.
To really get a handle on this fight, we're going right to the front lines. We're using a local HVAC company down in Brandon, Florida as our case study. And you might be asking, why Florida? Well, it's simple. If an AC system can survive the brutal environmental fight down there, it's basically the ultimate stress test. The lessons we learn from that extreme, they apply almost anywhere.
This brings us face to face with the main villain of our story, the Florida climate. And believe me, it's not just hot. It's a full-on gauntlet of hostile conditions that push machines to their absolute breaking point. The first wave of the attack is just oppressive, suffocating heat. We're talking about a typical summer day hitting 92 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the baseline assault your AC has to fight off every single day. But oh no, it's not a one-front war. The next wave is over 75% humidity. And this is so important to understand. Your AC isn't just cooling the air. It's working overtime, literally ripping gallons and gallons of water out of the atmosphere daily.
So what's the result of this brutal 1-2 punch? Your AC unit is forced to run for a staggering 10 to 12 hours a day during peak season. I mean, that's not a sprint. That is an ultra-marathon, day in and day out with no finish line in sight.
And if you think that's bad, the hits just keep on coming. There are other attackers too. Units stuck in attics or baking in 150-degree heat. If you're near the coast, corrosive, salty air is literally eating away at the metal parts. You got sand and pollen clogging up the works. And all that humidity, it's the perfect breeding ground for algae and slime. It's a total all-out siege.
So, with an assault that relentless, what happens when our soldier is finally overwhelmed? What does it actually look like when the system fails? Let's get into the most common breakdowns.
We've all been there, and we've all dreaded this moment. You realize the AC is blowing warm air. That's the system's white flag of surrender. So what's actually happening behind the scenes to cause this?
A lot of the time, the culprit is a little thing called a failed capacitor. Think of it like the starter in your car. It gives the motor a big jolt of power to get going. But all that extreme heat we were just talking about, it basically cooks this component over time until one day, poof, it can't deliver that boost and the whole system just won't turn on.
And what about this one? A puddle of water forming around your indoor unit. That's not just some random leak. Nope, it's a direct casualty of that war against humidity we talked about.
So here's what's going on. Your AC pulls all that water from the air, and it's supposed to flow outside through a little tube called a condensate drain. But Florida's warm, humid environment is the perfect breeding ground for algae and other gunk to grow inside that tube, creating a clog. And when that happens, the water has nowhere else to go but back into your house.
Okay, so the system has failed, the battle is lost, at least for today. What does it actually take to get your air conditioning back online? Let's break down the anatomy of a fix. The service process itself is pretty straightforward. First, you schedule the call and they dispatch a technician. Then that tech diagnoses the actual problem and gives you a quote for the fix. And finally, they perform the repair and test the whole system to make sure everything's working right. Now this part right here is absolutely huge because it's all about trust. So much of the anxiety around home repairs comes from not knowing what the final bill is going to be. Getting the full upfront cost before any work even begins, that means no surprises, which is a total game changer for homeowners. And get this, an incredible 87% of repairs are actually completed on the very first visit. How? Well, it's about being prepared. The service trucks are stocked with all the most common replacement parts, like those little capacitors we talked about. It's all about anticipating the enemy's moves before you even get to the battlefield. So, what can this deep dive into Florida teach the rest of us? How can we create our own defense strategy no matter where we live? Well, this is the homeowner's playbook. First up is the big decision everyone faces eventually: repair or replace. A repair is going to have a lower upfront cost, and it's a great option for newer systems. But if your unit is getting on in years, a full replacement can actually offer much better long-term value, especially when it comes to energy efficiency.
Now, if you do decide to replace, you absolutely have to know about the SEER rating. That's the Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio, which is just a fancy way of saying it's the miles per gallon for your AC. It's simple. The higher the SEER number, the lower your energy bills will be. In a demanding place like Florida, a high efficiency rating isn't a luxury, it's a flat-out necessity.
This timeline really shows you the power of being proactive. A neglected AC unit in Florida might only last you 10 years, if you're lucky. But a unit that gets regular, preventative maintenance, that can last 18 years or even longer. We're talking about nearly doubling the lifespan just from routine care.
So what does this proactive defense plan actually look like? Well, it's pretty simple stuff, really. We're talking about regular coil cleanings to keep the air flowing, flushing that drain line to prevent clogs, and inspecting electrical connections. And maybe the most important thing any homeowner can do is just change the air filter frequently.
We've seen how an AC unit battles Florida's unique combination of heat and humidity. And this brings us to one final question. For you, what is your climate's unique challenge? Is it extreme cold, dry, dusty air, intense wildfire smoke? Whatever it is, understanding that specific battle is the very first step to winning the war inside your walls.